Now I know that what I'm about to say in this video is not necessarily going to make me the most popular man on earth. There are two fronts in this discussion that argue very aggressively about whether or not the most recent Mercy nerf was necessary. People also argue about whether or not Blizzard even understands why Mercy is perceived to be such a problem. There are a lot of emotions involved in this discussion that, even if I tried, I couldn't possibly appeal to, so I'm not even gonna try to do any of that. In today's video, I want to add my own 2 cents to this whole discussion. Was the Mercy nerf necessary? What could Blizzard have done differently? And is it going to matter in the long run? Well, only one way to find out. Now the first thing I want to address are the countless complaints of some Mercy players who say things like, why don't you just kill her already? The overabundance of claims of her becoming unplayable, saying how they are tired of the constant nerfing, etc. I very much understand the frustration of having your main hero tweaked over and over again, especially when you feel like those changes are unnecessary. But this is literally like the boy who cried wolf. Historically, every time we had an outcry like this, things turned out just fine. And that's because the players in question seemingly don't think about how these changes are going to affect the character relative to the current meta. Again, every single time, without fail, we had a massive outcry claiming this is too much and Mercy is going to be a troll pick. But you have to realize how she remained a must pick despite the constant tweaking for like a year. I dare suggest that Mercy is the hero that Blizzard shows uttermost care for when it comes to trying to make balance changes, because they are aware of how incredibly popular this character is. And that, mind you, to the detriment of other heroes and the overall balance of the game. Mercy has undoubtedly been getting a special treatment because of her sheer popularity, and Mercy players have largely been enjoying her must-pick status without fail. That's not to say that playing Mercy is always fun, but I think by now it is fair to assume that a lot of the dedicated Mercy mains are really just interested in playing Mercy as often as possible. Which leads me to the discussion surrounding changes that Mercy players would prefer to see over flat-out nerfs. Now, I commend those of you who left genuinely interesting ideas on how to make Mercy a more engaging character. But fact of the matter is that the mass of people complaining just say things like, remove res and make her more fun to play, rather than leaving actually useful criticism and ideas. It is, just like before with the Mercy main who cried wolf, a case of many thoughtless complaints ruining it for the larger population of players who don't necessarily share those ideals. Because yes, Mercy players who are fine with the nerfs exist as much as Mercy players who really think about their criticism before hitting enter. But by constantly whining without adding any substance to your comment, you are ruining it not only for yourself as a Mercy player, but also for all the Mercy players who actually do invest the brain power and time to try and make a positive difference. Now, moving on to the idea that Blizzard is focusing on the wrong part of her kit, that I have to flat out disagree with. Yes, I know we talked about it time and time again. Res is a very powerful ability that, according to many players' opinion, has no place in Overwatch. Quite frankly, the game might be better off without that ability existing at all, but that's a big might. Removing a single ability from a hero can have bigger consequences than we imagine, and we have heard Blizzard saying that they are determined to try and make this ability work in their game. So, if we assume that they stand firm to that belief and just accept that res is not going to be removed, let's take a look at the bigger picture. Because relative to the issues that we are currently dealing with, res is not the problem. And I know how crazy it sounds to say that. Mercy isn't just always picked because of her ability to res, but because she's too good at doing everything. She has the mobility to survive, the healing output to sustain her team, and also a killer utility in form of res. A hero that is so good at everything is bound to outshine the other supports. Look at Ana, for example. Massive healing output with amazing utility, but absolute dick for mobility, making her an easy target. Not to mention the skill requirements surrounding her entire kit. Every other hero has some kind of massive disadvantage that makes players think twice about picking them, but Mercy can do it all. Ana can't keep herself alive, Zenyatta has a hitbox the size of the moon, Lucio's healing and damage output is limited in favor of a unique utility, and even Moira's AoE healing has some restrictions. Mercy can single-handedly save the backline from an uncoordinated dive, which, let's be honest here, those are the kinds of dives most of us are looking at on ladder. By making it so that Mercy can no longer out-heal Winston, you are opening up the possibility for many other compositions. Not only does it potentially help in making dive viable again, but it also gives you a reason to run Lucio over Mercy again to protect your Zenyatta. Like back when aggressive playstyles were very common and double off support was not something called a throw comp. Healing and speed boosting your team away from a situation that Mercy could have previously out-healed means that an entire different way of playing the game is suddenly possible. again. The idea of using Lucio to support rotations, promote aggression, and utilize peeling to win in a more standard Overwatch fashion as we used to play it, over just running your face into the other team while holding mouse 1 in hopes of eventually winning the brawl. Suddenly, we could be more willing to take the gamble with an Ana that might miss a few shots but still have a higher healing output than Mercy. This opens up her entire kit's worth of utility to players once again. As much as all of that is speculation, it comes to show that there's more to it than her healing is not the problem, because I really hate that she can res. Mercy does more to the game than many players realize, and that is why cutting down on her potency is important to make other support heroes viable again. What is important to note here is that the goal is not to make Mercy obsolete. Again, Blizzard is aware of how popular she is, and even if we don't like them being so careful with her balance only for that reason, I cannot possibly see them trying to create a situation where she's unplayable. And only because other possibilities become viable again doesn't mean that you can't run her at all. Because at the end of the day, Mercy is still a very safe pick that offers a lot of sustainability. And that does not go away only because her HPS was nerfed a bit. Quite frankly, this nerf might not even do anything at all to the meta. What I have laid out here are just assumptions and wishful thinking. I'm not an analyst, so God knows what's actually gonna happen. Honestly, I understand your frustration of having Mercy tweaked over and over again, but it's kind of your own fault. Naturally, I am not trying to shoehorn every Mercy main into the same drawer, but if you look at how popular Mercy is and how every little tweak creates this massive, thoughtless outcry, it is no surprise that Blizzard is afraid of making a more sweeping change once in hopes of adjusting her potency over doing it bit by bit over time. I mean, this is honestly the best thing they can do. They announce a nerf, a lot of players bitch and moan, the nerf goes live and she remains a must pick, after which everyone stops complaining. Why would they take the risk with a single big change that could potentially create an outright boycott of the most played hero in the video game? Okay, no, that is very much tinfoil hat territory right here, so I'ma just call it right there. My 2 cents on the issue: Mercy is too good at everything she does for how easily she can do it. The nerf is not as big of a deal as players make it out to be, and the reason we are in this kind of situation in the first place is because of the Mercy main who keeps crying wolf. Yes, her healing output is the problem, and I'd be hard pressed to believe that Blizzard would ever remove res from the game, which to me indicates that even speculating about its removal is an outright waste of time. From a balancing standpoint, all I can do is speculate, but from a community management standpoint, I definitely feel like a lot of thoughtless complaints have ruined it for the larger Mercy main community. So those gradual tweaks are something you have to deal with now. But I'm gonna call it a day now as I talk about the constant nerfing of Mercy. As always, my friends, you can feel free to leave all of your thoughts and opinions on the subject in question down in the comment section below. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video. God knows I'm gonna need it for this one. Subscribe if you want to see more, and maybe share this video with a friend you think would find it interesting. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.